Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris on France 24. It's time now for Media Watch, when we find out about all the buzz in the French media. James Creedon is the man for that.
Good evening indeed.
Hello there, James. Now, Anne Sinclair, a.k.a. Mrs. Dominique Strauss-Kahn.
That's right.
She's been keeping something of a low profile, I think it's fair to say, over the past 12 months.
Yes.
But now she's back with a new website and a new
Some
vocation.
say she fled to Morocco for a few months just to escape the public glare, the glare of the media at the centre of that whole Dominique Strauss-Kahn scandal. And here she is now back as managing editor of the Huffington Post, Le Huffington Post. So this is the first effort by the Huffington Post to go outside of the English-speaking world. They've already expanded into the UK, into Canada, and with varying success. And here is the fourth version of the website in France. So here she is with her little opening editorial, Who We Are, Qui Sommes-Nous. And I suppose it's a little bit who I am as well. It's a little bit, this is me, Anne Sinclair, former big, TV journalist, back in the arena of journalism after, a foray into being a political wife, I suppose.
And does she mention her wayward husband?
Absolutely no mention of him whatsoever. And I suppose the thing is, she gave this interview to Elle magazine last week.
Oh, and they voted her Woman of the Year, didn't they?
That's right. Now, it was one of the...
Not Christine Lagarde.
No, not Christine Lagarde, Anne Sinclair. And this was one of the few media that wasn't, I suppose, down on top of Anne Sinclair and Dominique Strauss-Kahn throughout the scandal. So some would say because they were particularly kind and clement to Anne Sinclair, that's why she chose to give her first public interview about Dominique Strauss-Kahn to them. It would be, I suppose. And so that was her, her foray into dealing with the whole Dominique Strauss-Kahn scandal side of things. And here it's purely professional, no mention whatsoever of Dominique Strauss-Kahn. And in fact, Arianna
Arianna Huffington right there, isn't it, next to her?
That's right. And in fact, Arianna Huffington gave an interview to Les Echos today, Les Echos being a business paper here, and the question of that sensitive question of how will the Huffington Post deal with the Dominique Strauss-Kahn story, because it's ever unfolding, ever unraveling, it's far from over. Well, apparently there is another editor who will deal with that exclusively, so she won't have any Anne Sinclair won't have anything to say
on that at all, I'm sure. And I'm sure she's had lots of support from her colleagues in the French media, hasn't she?
Oh, well, I'm not sure about that. There's been a little bit of the claws have been out by some, but I think it's more actually to do with the model of journalism over at the Huffington Post that is getting a certain amount of criticism. There's also been I'll get to that in a sec, but just to point out some controversies today. This is a very sad story in the French media at the moment. The French education minister's wife, Astrid Schmidt, was found dead in her home yesterday, and a lot of people were criticising the photo that was put up on the website here because it appears to be a case of suicide, and both of them are smiling. Now, I'm not sure what kind of a photo you can put up that is appropriate for a story like that, but some people, I suppose, being a little bit nitpicky, were pointing out online, oh, what a great choice of photo. And I saw that elsewhere as well, people saying you shouldn't have put that on the front page of your website today with the smiling photo of her when she has just passed away. I mean, I think that's really searching for flaws.
Well, it's hard to see what else they could have done.
That's exactly it. Now, what has been controversial is the whole notion of using bloggers. Whoops, that's a totally different story. Using bloggers.
Giving yourself away there, James.
Yeah, I am. What's coming up next? But the whole notion, it's a Huffington Post model, I suppose, getting free contribution from bloggers. So not paying your journalists, essentially. And it is, I suppose, the French, not just the French media, but the US media and international media generally, there is a move progressively towards that. And there were blogs that I was looking at. For example, this guy, Christophe Ginesti. Now, he's not a particularly well-known journalist, but he was invited to contribute to the Huffington Post. He said, no way, Jose, not on your Nelly. They're not offering me any money and I'm not working for them. And indeed, there were debates in
They don't pay any of their journalists?
Well, they do, but it's quite a small, limited team in the newsroom, and then they get an awful lot of people to contribute to blogs.
I guess they say they're raising people's profiles,
This is it. And he said, they asked me to contribute, and I said, no, because you're not going to pay me. So,
no, merci.
Yes. So there you go. It is quite controversial, but I suppose a new player on the market. We'll see how it manages.
All right. Now, those mischievous types at the hackers group Anonymous have been up to no good again. What have they done now?
All right, this is quite funny, I think. Here you have Christophe Barbier. Now, he's a very flamboyant, well-known editorialist and journalist here in France. Now, he works for L'Express magazine. He was on the E-Télé, that's a rolling news channel here in France, and he was talking about Anonymous. You've heard of it, indeed. And he was talking about Anonymous, and he said they're a bunch of thieves and cowards. And he was talking about how they go on, they hack and they steal and all this kind of stuff. And And somebody said to him, well, are you not a little bit worried that they could go after your website, L'Express? He is the man, the editor. And he said, we're well protected. I have absolutely no fear whatsoever. He actually essentially said they can come and get me. What happened this afternoon?
They went and got him.
They went and got him. The website was taken down. So, Christophe Barbier, don't draw the ire of Anonymous on you. It's a very bad idea if you have a website.
Oh, dear. Okay, we better talk about François Hollande. He's been doing the rounds, hasn't he? He's the man tipped to be the next president of France.
That's right. Now, and just interestingly, it was a big topic of conversation on Le Huffington Post this afternoon.
Oui.
They were talking about how Hollande bashing is a big thing in the media at the moment, about how all of the right wing, the UMP,
you've told us about this covert war.
That's right. It's kind of just,
Mr.
trying
Sarkozy not getting his hands dirty.
That's right. Or just, it's not a particularly honest way of campaigning. What they're trying to do is just mudsling, essentially. So you can see here, François Hollande is against the sun and the rain. That was what one guy said on the radio today. Another one said...
he's probably going to tax it.
That's right. Valérie Pécresse saying zero reforms and zero economics. So you see, it's all very sort of about images. Oh, and there was another one which I quite liked. Oh yeah, see, it's with François Hollande, it's Santa Claus all year. That was another one, because of course he's going to be so generous and give so much money away that the economy will sink. That's the inference. But I suppose more interestingly actually today was Ségolène Royal. Now she is his former life partner. They have
Mother of his children.
That's right, 4 children together. And she was in François Hollande's shoes 5 years ago. She was representing the Socialist Party on the run out. Now, what did she do today? She spoke on the radio about how annoyed she was, essentially, that she wasn't mentioned more in his big rally yesterday. This was his first big political rally. So she, for example, said, you can't you can't just erase people from history. And her point is that a lot of the policies that he might now be coasting on or cruising on, for example, she claims, reclaiming the French flag, the Social Party becoming more, blah, 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 the nation, and also issues such as security, which the socialists have sort of reclaimed. She thinks she's responsible for that, and François Hollande should be more thankful.
This is the woman who compared herself to Barack Obama, I think.
That's right. I suppose with a few differences.
She said he'd been inspired by her
it doesn't come across as very dignified, really. You should keep your mouth, I think, shut if you feel
it doesn't look very good,
like you've been left out of the story. She comes out looking like it's sour grapes, essentially, especially when they have such a personal story and they shared, a family. And also, you see, he had a little film showing his life story. This, of course, is all part of what they call storytelling in the run up to the election.
Childhood pictures, family snaps, all
that's
that.
right. And she only
featured. Have you got any of those for us?
I don't, unfortunately, but she was not pleased that she only briefly featured in that film, which... I suppose he's trying to rewrite the story and, appear as his own person.
Yeah.
But she wasn't pleased with that. And she said maybe they'll re-edit the film for the next rally.
Well, there's 3 months to go, James.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of this.
A lot more drama.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, James Creedon with Media Watch. Many thanks indeed. Now, it's been a non-stop party across much of Asia, with millions of people welcoming the Year of the Dragon. People have been exchanging their good wishes on the internet. Take a look at that and more now in today's web news.